fence, books and pens. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I can tell that we are gonna be friends.
Did you know that 8 of our 44 U.S. presidents were from the state of Ohio? Yeah, I didn't think so. But that's okay. Not many people do know that because they were kind of considered mediocre presidents. But today I want to give big ups to one of our 8 Ohio-born presidents, William McKinley. McKinley was the last Civil War veteran to serve in public office. He was the last U.S. president to serve during the 19th century and the first U.S. president to serve during the 20th century.
Nothing mediocre about that.
I know, right? William McKinley served as our 25th president from 1897 until 1901. McKinley was born in Niles, Ohio, but he considered Canton, Ohio as home because his wife Ida Saxton was from Canton, and they spent most of their married lives living in the Saxton family home. And it was from his Canton home that McKinley built his career as a lawyer, prosecuting attorney, congressman, governor of Ohio, and eventually President of the United States. McKinley's campaign for presidency in 1896 was known as the Front Porch Campaign, and his campaign was heavily financed by his good friend, Marcus Hanna, who was a wealthy industrialist from Cleveland. Hanna would actually pay people to travel by train to McKinley's home in Canton to hear him make speeches from his front porch. And McKinley would make speeches in front of huge crowds, kind of like the one you see before me now. And if I am elected president, I promise that every dog will receive a free bouncy ball toy to play with. I knew that would excite the crowd. The single event that defined McKinley's presidency was the Spanish-American War. The conflict between the two countries grew from yellow journalist stories of Spanish atrocities in Cuba. Cubans were suffering under the brutal regime of the Spanish Empire and had been fighting for their independence for a number of years. McKinley was reluctant to go to war. He had experienced the brutality of war when he served in the Civil War, so he believed the use of physical force should only be used as a last resort in solving a conflict. When the American battleship USS Maine mysteriously blew up in the Havana, Cuba harbor, killing 260 American sailors, the public outrage made it impossible for McKinley to resist going to war with Spain. On April 25, 1898, America declared war on Spain. The United States had an easy victory. Spain surrendered a little over 3 months after the start of the war. As a result of its victory, the United States became an imperial power as it gained possession of Guam, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. The war had bolstered the economy, and the United States was on an upswing heading into the 20th century. McKinley was elected to a second term as president. However, tragedy would strike the president just 6 months into a second term. In September 1901, McKinley traveled to the World's Fair in Buffalo, New York, to take in the sights and to give a speech. In the crowd was Leon Czolgosz, an unemployed factory worker that was upset about the disparity between the rich and the poor. He was in a line of people waiting to greet the president. He had a bandage wrapped around his hand and he had a pistol in it. And when he reached out, and it looked like he was going to shake the president's hand, but he shot him twice instead. The first bullet grazed the president's shoulder, and the second bullet went through his stomach and lodged in his back. McKinley died 8 days later. His final resting place is this monument right behind me. So now you know a little bit about one of our Ohio presidents.